Hey everybody, how's it going? MJ here. Got my lab mic on. A little bit further away. I'm at the HiLife. And I'm just testing the rig out here a little bit. My lab mic and the gimbal. Excuse me. Facebook chats only via public. I don't know what that means. This is weird. I just got a notification saying I have an unstable network. But in fact, let me turn this off. I tested the mic I do in fist bump. I tested the download speed and the upload speed, and they were just off the chart. It's really cold here tonight, man, and it's kind of rainy. So what I'm doing is, J-Boy, fist bump to you. How's it going? How you doing, bro? So I'm at HiLife, and I got a bunch. They have all these frozen foods, and so I'm just sampling a bunch of them. These are like, kind of like gyoza, kind of like some kind of dumplings, you know. And I'm just gonna have at it. So how's everybody doing? Can I get a sound check? Now, I'm broadcasting to Band and Twitch, YouTube, and now I started broadcasting to Facebook again. Now, I started a new Facebook profile, MJ Klein. Hey Dean, fist bump to you. Nice to have you with us on Twitch. Started a new Facebook page, MJ Klein. Don't ask me why. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Excellent. Okay, we got a good, thank you. Got a good signal report. This mic works really, really well. I don't know if you can see it, but it's really small. I don't have the fuzzy on it because I'm not outdoors. But very small. Has a lot of gain. Thanks for hosting me, Dean. I appreciate it. Excellent, thank you. Now, the thing is well, I'm eating some HiLife food, and I didn't put any hair wax in today. Wash my hair and use a blow dryer, so it's all puffy. I can't hold this bag up because I got it all opened. But if you know what gyoza are, it's a type of like a dumpling, and it's kind of like this. And these are vegetable and some pork. I got these guys, which are pieces of fried chicken. These little things, which are well, it says gotier, which is pot stickers, but cool. And of course I got my wasabi peanuts. And with a microphone, they're going to make a nice crunch. All right. So, as I was saying, it's cold tonight, man. And rainy. But the other day was nice, and I went down to Taiwan with my friend John, and I actually had like a red face, sunburn, from being out. So that was nice. I actually can't wait. It is good. I actually can't wait to go back to the beach. If it turns sunny, gonna take a day next week. I'm on portable lounge chair. And let me tell you, I'm gonna kick back. So I made a new Facebook profile, MJ Klein. You'll recognize my picture. And I made a page called Taiwan Live TV. And that's where I'm broadcasting to. I don't have anybody on Facebook right now. But if one of you were so inclined to go to Facebook, see what I did there? And Klein, right? So inclined to go to Facebook and to the Taiwan Live TV page, you should be able to see the live stream and comment. I got kind of a bizarre, it says here you can look at Facebook chats only via public. Yeah, I was before and I deleted it. I don't know. You know, Facebook is like an ex-wife. You just can't completely get her out of your life sometimes. But I'm only using it for promotional purposes, and I'm trying not to get too deeply involved with it. I call it in Facebook. I mean, Facebook says, you know how they do that. People you might know. My next door neighbor. Wow. I was on Facebook, you know, when it first started. A long time ago. It quickly got out of control. I found that I was spending hours of my time. This is amazing. I'm going to say what everybody's thinking. Hours of my time reading posts by people that I haven't physically seen for 20 or 30 years. Moved to another place, and it's like, but you know, when it's on Facebook, when you're on Facebook, you get something like, hey, there's Jim, wow, from high school, wow, friend, okay? Then there's, oh, wow, there's Kathy from my first job, and, you know, and oh, there's Bill, you know, right? That's what happens, right? So all of a sudden, you're suddenly back in these people's lives. And you don't know what's going on with them. They got married, they had kids, or they got divorced, or, you know, whatever. I just found that I'm sorry, but I didn't care. You know what I mean? I care about what's going on now in my life with people that I routinely interact with. You know, it's interesting to have interactions with you guys on live streams. But outside of the live stream, I have very few daily interactions with people. Interesting, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, I like these people, and it's nice seeing them, but sometimes they just weren't so good about, I mean, even like acting like they were happy to see me either, you know? MJ Klein. Yeah, I know. And far too many companies use it. Like in Taiwan, sometimes the only way you can reach companies is on Facebook. The Zhiyun company that makes those really fine gimbals, well, I wanted to buy an extension tube so I could put the larger battery in, and they said, oh, just go to our Facebook page. Like, we're talking on the phone. If I give you my name and credit card and my address, can you ship it to me? Yeah, just go to our Facebook page. Why don't I do that? Taiwan government uses Facebook. Far too many people are using Facebook as their primary contact point. And so, I mean, why wouldn't you want to have your own website and your own control over it? You know, you can say whatever you want, put whatever you want on it. And I just got a friend request from Mike. And I just confirmed it. Yeah. Old Dean. Sounds to me like they're easily upset. So Mike, if you're still listening, I assume you might be, but I just got a friend request from Mike that's funny. See if you can see, please. I would like for you to please see if you could see the live stream on my Taiwan Live TV page. That'd be cool. Well, back when I was on Facebook, originally, see, the last place that I lived when I went to high school was Greensboro, North Carolina. It's where I graduated. And my sister stayed there, and I ended up in Boston and then in Taiwan. Anyway, so I made contact with a few guys that were, in touch with my sister in the same class and all that. And one guy moved to California, and he wrote to me. He said, "I thought I moved a long way away from North Carolina, but I guess I beat everybody. I'm on the other side of the world." Anyway, so did you guys? Okay, let me ask you this: do you guys go in for, like, the class ring and the yearbook and all that stuff? Do you guys go for that? Tell me, what do you think? Did you go for the You mean on Facebook? Mike, can you see this live stream on Facebook? I didn't do either one because in high school, back in those days, I guess, it was 10th, 11th, and 12th grades high school. And all 3 years I went to different schools. So when I arrived, no, that's fantastic. When I arrived, in my senior year at another school, nobody knew who I was. I didn't know anybody else either. And so a yearbook is kind of pointless. But anyway, so Mike, I know you were just at Facebook. I'd like to please ask you, did you see the live stream on the Taiwan Live TV page, you know, that's associated with my profile? It should be there. I mean, Prism is broadcasting this somewhere on Facebook. But it gave me that weird notification about private or public or whatever. Anyway. I remember using the Facebook mobile app. And when live streaming was added to Facebook, which incidentally, I will say this, I think Facebook did that the right way, because Twitter just bought Periscope, you know, and integrated the technology, and it's just, you saw what happened. It's just not that good. It took a perfectly good app and gutted it, and they aren't even like, I don't know what's going on with Twitter Live, but you know, a lot of people like it. For me, I don't see reason to be even using it. But I have to say that Facebook, I think, did it right, because Facebook live streams look really good, you know, and you can find them. All right, Mike, I'd like to ask you one more thing, and I understand what you're saying. Most of my life, school was very difficult. But in my senior year, I studied martial arts, and I learned how to handle myself. And I developed a reputation, and after that, nobody messed with me. But it took until my senior year for me to do that. But hey. Mike, sorry, I got to ask you this again. Were you able to find the Taiwan Live TV page? Because that's what I'm sending this live stream to the Taiwan Live TV page, you know, off my profile, or however you want to phrase that. Now I'm eating the chicken, and man, this is amazing. This is really, really good. Didn't eat dinner tonight. Wanted to come out and do a live stream. I gotta tell you, this is actually, it's not bad at all. And including the wasabi peanuts and a bottle of soda, it was like $6. So, overall, school kind of sucked for me. Never really liked it. No. Phoenix, my daughter, loves school. I'm really glad to hear that. That's gratifying. And even in cases when she can get out of school, like sometimes she'll have an eye exam scheduled at the hospital during the day. There we go. And So instead of going to school, we'll go to the hospital and we'll get out like maybe 10 o'clock. I'm like, so, do you want to go to school? Yes, Papa, hurry up, hurry. I'm going to miss class. She loves it. I never saw a kid like that. When she was, I'm guessing, I just got a notification from Facebook. I'm guessing Mike found my Taiwan Live TV page. Ha. You might not be able to comment though. I got to figure out how that works with the live streams because, hang on. I'm just going to approve all. So all the requests are approved. There you go. Okay. I appreciate that, Mike. Thanks. So, I never saw a kid like her before because when she was 3 years old, I mean, just 3 years old, I mean, almost this high, she would put a little backpack on. Hey, Matthew, fist bump to you. Good to see you. Good evening, good morning. And Phoenix used to put this little toy backpack on. And I'll go, look, Papa, I'm going to school. My wife and I are like, she wants to go to school. So they have, kindergarten and pre-kindergarten. So we enrolled her in a pre-kindergarten at age 4. Amazing. And that set her up for the kindergarten because it was kind of an elite, school. Taiwan is set up like you can't just go to any school you want to go to. You have to, if you're aiming for the top school, you have to start out in the top kindergarten. So we went to the top pre-kindergarten, and then she got into the kindergarten that we wanted. And then we went to the elementary school, and the elementary school wasn't, I didn't like it. But because it was such a high-ranked elementary school, we could go to the other one that was high-ranked, where she is now. So she's in 3rd grade. It's interesting to note that the grades in Taiwan are 1 year ahead of the grades in the U.S. So Phoenix is in 3rd grade. If for some reason, boom, she's in the States, they would enroll her in 4th grade. Plus, she has all that Chinese language skills. I can't believe how well educated my daughter is, and it won't be much longer. She's not even going to finish high school, and she's going to be better educated than I am now. It's amazing. Yeah. So Matthew, how are you doing? And I know it snowed last time I saw you. Everything cool? Now, today, Taiwan reported 239 COVID-19 cases and 87 are domestic. Now, I know a lot of you are going, 87? Oh, wow, that's really good. For us, that is frightening. We've had this zero COVID policy for a long time, and many days we've had single digits even 0. There are a couple of cluster infections, and one of them is not too far away from here. And the scary part is that it involves Thai workers, and I go to these Thai restaurants, and so, and the Thai restaurant that I go to is adjacent to the area where they have a breakout amongst Thai workers. So no Thai food for me for a while. Wow. Oh my goodness, from 18 to 74 in 36 hours. Wow. I'm glad to hear everybody's doing well and all healthy. And how's my my favorite co-host, Mr. Grayson? How's he doing? All right. That's a cool name. Yeah. You know, J-Boy, people are tired, they're burnt out. And at some point they stop caring. They're like, I gotta get on with my life, and they just want everything to open up. Well, Spanish flu took a little over 2 years to really break. That last outbreak, I think there was 3 major outbreaks in the last outbreak. That was it. Those diseases died out, but I don't know about this one. Really. And he started to walk. Oh. He's going to be a genius. How old is he? He started to walk. How's that possible? He's born like 2 weeks ago. I mean, it seems like it. Wow. That is just amazing. I don't know. Send it where? Can't send it to me now, but you can send me a screenshot, you know, to Facebook. That's cool. That'll help me troubleshoot it. Maybe what I should do is just 10 months. Wow. Walked at 10 months. Phoenix was a year and 2 months when she walked. So, wow, that's remarkable, man. That's fantastic. Fist bump on that, man. That's amazing. Little man's going to be a genius. He's developing so quick. Wow. That's astonishing, though. I never had a kid before. You know, I had this one kid, and it's amazing how they really, wow, come from a family of early developers. Then, wow, it's amazing. Think about the baby, you know, from that basic elements of life, and 9 months later, it can, you know, it's a viable human being, and 10 months later, it's walking. It's like the development is just phenomenal. You know, watching my daughter grow up and turn into this beautiful creature, you know. It's amazing. I showed you guys this, you know. I showed you guys the, didn't I? Hang on. must have. Yeah, I showed you guys this, right? It does. It's crazy. Yeah. Did I show you guys that picture before? They say talent skips a generation. It's so funny. I still remember that line from Jurassic Park, and Jeff Goldblum delivered that line so perfectly. Yeah, they say talent skips a generation. But hey, your kids will be great. Online, I showed. Okay, I guess I haven't shown it on the live stream. Sometimes I forget. That's my mother in Phoenix. Isn't that amazing? That's not a very good comparative picture. That's just a picture my wife took of Phoenix. But look at the shape of the jaw, and look at the ear shape. I'm gonna hold right here. See? You see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. So the thing is, right? This Phoenix is what is colloquially said to be a mixed person, of mixed ethnicity. Her father's Caucasian and her mother is Asian. And so, so you can't use technical terms because the technical term is Mongoloid, but people get upset when you say that. So, we just, and it's, you get stuck no matter what you do with Asian, because if you say yellow, then people say, oh, that's derogatory. But you say white, you say black. It's like, so I don't know. These things don't bother me. I don't care about it. And the funny thing is in Chinese, they're not hung up, because they actually say, like, they say black people, and they say white people, and they say yellow people. So, yep, that's my mom. That's my mother. I don't know how old she is there. I have no idea. And that's my daughter, Phoenix. And see, but if you look at me, you can clearly see that looks skip a generation. Amazing, huh? It's really something, isn't it? So what I did was, my sister gave me this picture, and it was all yellow and stuff from being scanned. I just turned it into black and white because that's what it originally was, right? So I showed just the picture of my mother to Phoenix, and I call her Pumpkin. That's her nickname. I said, Pumpkin, when did I take this picture of you? And why is it in black and white? And she just looked at it, she smiled, she goes, I don't know. She didn't even know it wasn't her. She wasn't sure. I could see that she was confused, but she didn't say, oh, that's not me. So that in of itself speaks volumes. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, that was cool. That was a very cool thing to run across that picture. So yeah, and I don't think I have anything else that's along those lines. No, I guess not. Oh, somebody sent me this the other day. Oh my goodness. No comment, but excuse me. Sounds right. Now I was thinking the other day, because excuse me, I'm doing most of my live streams now mobile. I need to put all those old bumpers back on because I have bumpers, from Rob. I have some bumpers from Steven in Florida that he made, and of course everybody knows those two really nice bumpers that Coco made. They're on my PC. And so what I got to do is I got to upload them to Google Drive and then download them on the phone, and I'll have them. But man, oh man, see, that's mind blowing, isn't it? Somewhere, not on my phone anywhere. I made a collage. I have a baby picture of me when I was 9 months old, hair already curly, and yeah, she really is. She's growing up fast and studying piano, and I think she's going to be musically. I mean, I know she's already musically inclined, but I think she's going to be a musician. She's writing songs, and she said that she's writing musical notation in her notebook and writing lyrics in Chinese. And when she writes a note, she hears them in her head, she said. Amazing. So that, just crazy stuff. But, so, let's see if I can pick up where I left off. I don't know. I'm tired. What can I say? I'm tired. Oh, so I have this baby picture, and when and my wife has a baby picture of herself that her mom took. She was sitting in a chair. I think she was about 1, and I took my wife's baby picture and my baby picture and put them together in a collage with Phoenix underneath, kind of like the, AB equals C. It was funny because it's me and my wife, and the bottom is Phoenix across it. So I'll find that for you guys and show that to you. But yeah, it's been a really interesting experience, having her, because she is such a wonderful kid. I mean, she doesn't get in trouble. I mean, she's only done a couple of bad things. All kids do something bad. The worst thing she ever did was, we weren't looking, and she took a magic marker and decorated the TV screen. And it was a TV. My wife and I had bought it. We were setting up our household, and this is when the flat screen TV was first introduced, and it was an anamorphic TV. My next Q&A is it's Mike. My whole broadcast is Q&A, man. Just ask away, whatever you want. It's okay. And so we paid like $1,000 for a 32-inch, and it had speakers along the side. So when Phoenix came along, we already had that TV like over 10 years. There's no HDMI port on it, and it was very outdated technology. But when it first came out, it had PIP, picture-in-picture, and all this other kind of stuff, and it was actually quite cool. And watching DVDs in 16 by 9, it's our first widescreen, but it wasn't really flat. The thing was about this thick, right? But it was the first widescreen, 16 by 9 TV. Of course, the TV I got now the TV I have now is 55-inch, and it costs 1/3 of what that one cost. It's just nuts, and it runs Android, and it's like. So we had that TV, and Phoenix took a magic marker and decided she wanted to decorate the screen. Excuse me. I didn't see her do it, so I don't know if she saw like a cartoon character and just like circled the eyes on it, but there's doodles on it. So, we didn't punish her. We just told her, well, you've ruined the TV. And she didn't really understand what that meant. I says, well, let's turn the TV on and go turn to her favorite channel. And she's looking at her favorite channel, which is Momo, they call it. And there's writing on the screen, pictures and stuff, doodles that aren't going away. And I said, see, now whatever we watch, we're going to see that, to understand that. And she actually did. She said yes, and she recognized that what she did wasn't a cool thing. And I think we kept the TV for like another 2 years or something until it finally just croaked, and then I threw it on the recycle truck. But that was a good TV. It lasted quite a while. But I had a 32-inch that I bought for 7,000 NT, which is like $200 or something. I had it in my exercise room upstairs, mounted on a bracket on the wall, and I would swing it out, and I'd get on my exercise bike and I'd watch an episode of some movie or TV show or something, and before I knew it, oh wow, I've been exercising for an hour. That was great. So when that TV went dead, I took it off the wall and brought it downstairs. But that one didn't last so long. It was a HiRan, H-E-R-A-N from China. That one didn't last very long. It only lasted about, well, I used it upstairs a couple times a week for maybe 2 or 3 years. Brought it downstairs, it lasted another 2 or 3 years, and that was it. And 1/3 of the screen started getting weird patterns, which means that there's some kind of interconnect. So I took it apart. I took the TV apart, and I couldn't find the discontinuity, for the display. I couldn't find it. So yeah, well, it's just TVs is not that important to me. You know what I mean? And the other thing too is that particular TV didn't have any apps on it, so it wasn't like I could watch YouTube. See, my TV now, because it's like I got like a 1950s science fiction movie app on there, and I've got Plex because I have I use the Plex. I use my older touchscreen AIO on the 3rd floor and in the master bedroom as a media server. So I have Plex running on that, and I have Plex running on the big TV, so I can watch. I got like, I don't know how many gigabytes of movies, probably 4 gigs or something of movies. I mean terabytes. So what am I saying? Of movies, and so I can all watch them there. Yeah. Oh yeah. They are, and I think I told you guys on one live stream that I used to have a CRT, a 32-inch CRT computer monitor. It was 800 by something. It was like ridiculous, but back then the resolution was good. And Mike, it was you that brought up plasma TVs before, and we had started a discussion about that, and I realized that I never finished it, and so we could go on and finish that, but J-Boy, that TV just wasn't that important, you know what I mean? It was mostly Phoenix watching some of her little kids shows and stuff, but now like the TV's become more of an entertainment center than it ever was because of the because I'm using the media server, and also because instead of sitting down like at the dinner table and looking at my Surface Pro or my phone, to watch YouTube, I can watch it on 55-inch TV, and my Redmi is really nice earbuds, connect, and I was like, it's great, sounds great. So that's that's a little bit different. But she really hasn't done anything that bad since then, and I got a really good kid. And so I'm really happy about that. And I tell her a lot of times, she's very vocal about things, and she always tells me I'm a good father. But I tell her that, she has to take credit for that too, because she's an easy kid to be a father too. She makes me want to aspire to be a good father. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes children can disappoint you, and many parents often feel like, you know, they want to give up because their kids are bad, or, you know, they have bad influences and things. But anyway, and that's kind of the reason, one of the reasons too, that I'm reluctant to raise her in the United States, is because of the bad influences. Here in Taiwan, there's no place to go get in trouble. Where I lived in New Hampshire, there's 1 million people in New Hampshire, in a place that's like half the size of Taiwan. If you want to be alone, you drive for 3 minutes down the road. So, she's stricter than I am, yeah, but only in certain areas. And for the most part, I mean, my wife absolutely recognizes that Phoenix is a good kid, and we don't have the problems with her that we hear some of the other parents having with their kids, of being rebellious and not wanting to obey and stuff. But you know, we've instilled, you know, principles in her that she understands that, you know, I answer to a higher power, and she has to answer to a higher power too. You know, I'm not the pinnacle here, and we all have a hierarchy, and that's just how it is. And so, starting out, you know, with that from the very beginning has been helpful. And she knows, you know, that I'm not perfect, and you know, her mother's not perfect, and so that makes a big deal. Yeah, that's true. And we have some really healthy food here in Taiwan. It's a great place, especially for vegetarian, vegetable material if you want. They got all kinds of great stuff here. But going back to that, Mike, I realized that I hadn't finished the story. See, I've been live streaming so long. I mean, 7-some years. Sometimes I don't know, or I don't even remember exactly what I've said and when I said it and where I said it and whatever. So I know for a fact, after the fact, a couple times I've repeated stories and guys have heard them before, and I'm sorry about that. But Mike had brought up about plasma TVs, and I said that plasma TVs, I felt personally, are dangerous. And what I'd like for you to do, and I had this discussion with Dave, you know, Dave in Osaka. What I'd like for you guys to do is, when you're, you know, not watching the stream at some later date, look up, just do a search on patents for mind control technology. So mind control technology patents, just look for that. And you will find a patent that talks about using displays. Now here's the thing about plasma displays. Plasma is energy. We're not talking about blood plasma. We're talking about, plasma is a state of matter that's brought about by the expenditure of energy, as opposed to like blood plasma, right? So this expenditure of energy causes ionization. And ionization causes radiation. And the interesting thing about plasma TVs is that they emit a type of radiation that the brain can interpret as sound, but directly inside the head, from the center, you know, from the auditory center, without using the auditory channel. It's been demonstrated scientifically that people who are deaf, because they have a problem like with their ear system, but the auditory system in their brain is fine. There's like might have had an ear infection, excuse me, in their youth, and the transducer part, you know, was destroyed. Well, you can irradiate this person's brain with plasma energy, and they can actually hear things. So that's really quite amazing. And so, let me tell you why I'm bringing this up. I had mentioned before about a meteorite that I saw when I think I was about 7 or 8, probably about 8. I lived in Florida, and my mom came home from the store, and she had a bunch of groceries in the trunk, and she came in the house, threw me the keys, and said, "Go get the groceries out of the trunk." I said, "Okay." So I went outside, and I put the key in the lock, and I opened the trunk, and the trunk is up, and I'm reaching in to get the shopping bags, and I hear this kind of sound like a whoosh, right? This right, and it's really loud, and it was overhead. And I looked up, and there was a meteor trail. It was really fast, and it went away, it burned away. Either burned up or skipped off. That was amazing for an 8-year-old. Man, I dropped them bags. I ran inside. Mom, I just saw a meteor. I just saw a meteor. Yeah. Go get the groceries. My mom doesn't care about science. That was really amazing for me, and I remember it like vividly. You know, hearing that and looking up. Right. So, oh, that's interesting. Wow. Well, you know, they look really good. So, you know, the refresh rate on them and stuff was good, and you know, it works on human persistence and everything. So there's no question about it. They look really good. But let me get back to my story because it's relevant. It wasn't until, gosh, decades later that I realized, why did I hear a sound of a meteor, look up, and see the meteor concurrent with the sound? When I hear a jet and I look up and the jet isn't anywhere where the sound's coming from, the jet's in front of the sound, and you got to go like this and figure out which way it's going. You ever think about that? Yeah, they are heavy and they have high voltage. Don't open them up. They're almost as dangerous as a CRT with a flyback transformer. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You hear a jet and you look up and you hear the sound and it's from here, but the jet's over there, or it's over, or you know, depending on which direction it's going, right? There's a delay because the light travels faster than sound. Like a significant difference, right? So, why on earth was I able to look up and actually track it with my eyes? I should have heard that shh, right? And that thing shouldn't have even been visible. It should have already been gone. But I looked up, and right where my ears told me it was, because our eyes, and our ears are, I mean, the brain does some amazing mid-sized spatial processing with just two microphones, right? And you can locate objects in 3D. Yes, they are. I mean, depending on the composition, but they can be very valuable scientifically and as well as just monetarily. And so, why? It wasn't until decades later that I realized, after reading an article about plasma and brain radiation, that I had experienced that. In an object like a meteor hits the Earth's atmosphere, and the friction causes intense heat, and it causes the gas, the atmosphere, to ionize, which creates plasma. And you guys, anybody from the 60s knows, 60s on, should know that, spacecraft that re-enter lose radio contact because of the ionization field around the spacecraft, right? I mean, it's common knowledge. And so what happened was the meteorite was generating plasma. I wasn't actually hearing with my ears the sound being transmitted by the atmosphere, because it was 300 kilometers up or something like that. I mean, it's really far away, traveling tremendously fast. And so there's no way at that distance that the sound would have been concurrent. And so I was being irradiated with the radiation that travels roughly at the same speed that light does, and the auditory center in my brain interpreted that as sound. But it was amazing that the interpretation was like a whoosh and not like a, or anything else, right? So Then there was an Omni magazine article, and it was talking about this phenomenon. The magazine actually is what triggered this. I used to get Omni magazine, gosh, in the 80s, mid 80s. That was a great magazine, and it's no longer around, but there is an archive. And I did try to search for that article in the archive, and I drove myself nuts. I couldn't find it. But the article talked about how people frequently see meteorites and look up, and the meteorite seems to track with the auditory signal that they're getting. And the author was asking, how's that possible? And that's when I went, yeah, I'm 8 years old, how's that possible? Well, plasma irradiation is the answer. And the article went on to say that, but how do you test this theory? Do you like sit out in your backyard every night and hope that you'll hear and see a meteor? And the author pointed out that there is a regularly scheduled meteor in those days that used to come back to Earth on a schedule, and it was the STS, the Space Transportation System, otherwise known as the Space Shuttle. And in those days, the Space Shuttle flew very regularly, and sure enough, scientists conducted experiments because they know when it's coming, then they know where it's going to be, so they just set up and they wait for it. And they were actually able to determine that the sound that people heard of the Space Shuttle re-entering the Earth's atmosphere was not actually sound per se. It wasn't energy being transmitted through the atmosphere to our eardrums and physically moving the eardrums. It was plasma. So after that, people started experimenting. And it turns out that I never heard this myself because I didn't know anybody that had them, and I didn't know any store that had them because they're frightfully expensive. But somebody figured out that you can make a tweeter, for a speaker system out of some kind of a little plasma generator and modulate the plasma, and it makes this tweeter that doesn't use your ears, it just hits your brain, and it's like there's no distortion, and all you have to do, because it doesn't work very well for low frequencies, so all you have to do is put a crossover on it and put a woofer on the bottom of it. And somebody actually did that. They made a loudspeaker. It's ridiculously expensive, as I remember, and it had a plasma tweeter. Who knows, you may be able to find them today. They may still exist. I don't know, I haven't looked at any of this stuff in a long time. And so when plasma TVs came out, people who were aware of this technology started warning consumers that plasma TVs would be a way to embed subliminal messages in the audio track, but it wouldn't be in the audio track. So basically, an investigator might look at a VHS recording of an ad and say, well, I don't hear any strange voices, but played on the television set, you would. And there were reports of people hearing voices in their head watching a plasma TV. Now, I was talking earlier about mind control and mind control technology and mind control patents. And part of mind control is to make people think that they're losing their sanity. If you make somebody think that they're losing their sanity, then they become open to suggestion because they need direction or looking for answers. Why am I going out of my mind? And interestingly enough, one of the tools of this kind of modern warfare, and you hear about this a lot, if you know where to look, you can find reports of people all over the world that say that they hear voices in their head, but only at home, or only at a certain time of day, or only at a certain place. And realizing that this technology exists, There are some people that claim that they have been targeted by a government or an agency, and that they're regularly dosed with this kind of energy where they hear voices in their head. And these people have come to the realization of what's happening, what's going on, and they know that they're not going crazy, but it's driving them crazy, because in the middle of the night, you'll hear a voice in your head goes, "Wake up," and you wake up, and you're like, "Oh, will you guys stop it? I'm trying to get some sleep." They're trying to break these people down for whatever reason. Who knows? There's always a reason for everything, and my suggestion is to keep your head down and not make yourself a target. That's my suggestion. I mean, I don't protest anything. I don't get involved in any of that stuff, and I'm not going to make myself a target. I'm remaining neutral on all these things. That's how you have to be. You don't suffer the consequences, and you don't share in the crimes that are committed by people that politicians that you support, right? So I know. Super VHS. I remember that. I made quite a penny in the early '90s when the VHS, the half-inch VHS cassette recorder was still viable. I made quite a penny repairing those. It was cool. So anyway, eventually people became very aware of what was the possibilities with plasma TVs, and then the LCD, the liquid crystal display, and then eventually LEDs just supplanted everything. So we don't know what's next, but I was in the store today and I saw a 4K Sony Bravia, and it is just they're using artificial intelligence and HDI. It's just it's amazing. So HDR is what I'm trying to say. And so it's amazing, the displays now. And even this mobile phone with a Super AMOLED screen, it's not even a Samsung, it has a Super AMOLED screen. I mean, I can't believe this. This is like, comparing my mobile phone that I had, my first smartphone I told you guys, I bought in 2002. It was a Sony Ericsson T68. It's the world's first color screen mobile phone, and the screen was about double, this display, like about that. That was it. Tiny. But I told you guys a couple weeks ago that I found some of my old Sony feature phones, and I've been taking some pictures with one of them, and I want to show you the pictures that I've been using my Xiaomi and this phone and comparing them. And so I wanted to, I'm going to show you that pretty soon. I'm going to do a special show, and I'll show you, I don't know how many, but like I go out to eat and I'll take a picture of the food with the old 702 and then with the Xiaomi, and you can see the difference. All right, so. Yeah, well, actually 3 millimeters is actually quite big in the scheme of things, because we make some castings like bike lugs, and they're like somewhere between 0.9 to 1.1 or 1.2 millimeters thick. And so, yeah. Anyway, Mike, thanks for going to that Facebook page. It looks like somehow or another I have to figure out how to make that public and make that work. I did it before because I made a Facebook profile before, but I think I may have just live streamed to the profile. I don't really care. Taiwan Live TV project is dead. I just put it up here for identification, but TaiwanLive.tv, the website's gone. I mean, it's still physically on the server, but I'm redirecting it to livestreaming.technology. And so, yeah, I'm moving on to other things. It's about time. So this is an interesting topic, and what I'm afraid of is that I'm just shooting the breeze with you guys, and there's only like 2 or 3 people listening. But what I'm afraid of is some of the things that I say may end up getting me banned because, I mean, look at me. You can tell I'm subversive. I'm just so, dangerous and yeah. But anyway, at least I didn't walk up to somebody on a stage and slap them, huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for me to say good night. It's kind of late. It is actually, come on, it's 1:25 here. So I'm gonna hit the road and hit the rack. And I may change my live streaming schedule. So I've had a couple of changes in my life recently, and I might make some adjustments to my live streaming schedule. So, yeah, subversiveness, yeah, it's part of my charm, yeah. And you can see, I am just oozing with charm. But I've been using eye cream, I don't know if you can tell, but I've been using eye cream, and believe it or not, I bought some. This is, boy, that Carly Simon song, "You're So Vain." I mean, I bought some collagen. What do you call them? They're like iPads. You put not like a iPhone iPad, but they're little collagen masks, eye mask you put under there, and you leave them on, and it makes that whole area swell up, so you lose the depression. But good night. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much. But a little of that, I should just for the fun of it, for the late night group. I don't know if I want to show that on the live stream, but I should take a picture of like when I first, before I put the eye cream on, and then like 30 minutes later. So. Yeah, go Queen the band, yeah. Well, pretty soon they'll be back on the road, when everybody's sort of past this. But you guys take care, and thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time, all right? And I'm going to try to be on Sunday. Now, we've got a long weekend here in Taiwan. I'm not sure what my family's doing. We might actually go away somewhere. I don't really know. We've got to find out. So I'll let you guys know. If I do anything exciting, you'll be the first to know. Good night. Take care. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, that mic worked out great. I'm glad.